Hello, lovely OT, it's your girl Nancy. I'm back again with another video. Now, this video we are going to have a little chat. We're gonna have a little chat about documentation, okay? Because I feel like that's one of the things that I've seen around a lot, and I try my best to stay on these Facebook pages because I want to know what the need is, and then I'll try to find a solution to that need and find a solution to kind of conquer that need. And one of those needs that I've seen a lot on Facebook and social media is definitely documentation issues. I don't know what happened. So there was a really cool documentation gurus. I think they were definitely therapists. I think OT and PT, the Ninja Notes or something like that. I don't see them anymore on Instagram, but if you guys know anything of what happened to them, let me know down below. But they were really good in explaining documentation and stuff like that, and I think that I learned a lot of those things from watching them, and a lot of those things from like making my own mistakes, and through a really lengthy process of learning documentation, and I'm still learning. But one thing that I also want to get out of the way is that I think the number one problem is that people look at documentation in the wrong way, meaning that people are looking at it as a way for them to cover their butts, so to speak. Okay, I'm going to document it because, you know, I need to cover my butt, I need to cover my license, I need to protect myself, blah blah. But really, we need to look at documentation in a right way, and the right way is look at documentation as a way to prove your skill, a way to prove your skill to the other person who's reading the documentation, which most of the time is insurance companies. Okay, they will read your documentation to see if this patient even needs therapy, if the therapy that is being provided is even skilled, and if it's not skilled, then why are we paying? Because most of the time insurance don't want to pay for these services anyway. So you are even giving them the ammunition if you are not properly documenting what you're doing and showing skilled service. Okay? All right. Now, always try your best to keep it simple, stupid, because that's what my CI used to tell me, because I used to be so keen on, okay, maybe if I type a whole paragraph, okay, a whole freaking book, maybe it would look like I know what the hell I'm doing. And she used to tell me, like, it's not about the length of your notes. If you can write one sentence for me and it can tell me exactly what you did and why it's skilled and why this patient needs therapy, then you have done your job. You have that is like documentation 101. You are basically done. So the length is not as important as what was done, how was it done, was it skilled? Okay? Going back to the skill thing, make sure that whenever you document that you think of, is what I'm writing, can somebody else do it? Can a CNA do it? Can the nurse do it? Can the doctor do it? No. Only I can do it. Only the therapist can do it, because of the techniques that I'm teaching them, because of the facilitation that I'm giving them, because I'm upgrading things, I'm downgrading things, because of my expertise as a therapist. And once you start thinking in those realms, your documentation would change significantly. And insurance company want to know, like I've already mentioned, do we need to pay for this? Can anybody else do it apart from this therapist that we are paying so much money for? Can somebody else do it for less money? And that's what restorative aids are popping up everywhere, right? And the next thing that you have to think about is that, do we need to keep them on therapy? Is this necessary? Is what you do with them necessary? Is it? And of course, hopefully soon we can kick the middleman to the curb and do our own payment system and stuff. But even then, you still have to document properly. You still have to show your skills. You may not always have the opportunity to be face to face with an insurance person to tell them why OT is important, to advocate for OT. So your documentation is, in a way, your form of advocating for what OT is and what we do. So take that opportunity very seriously and make sure that you prove your worth through your documentation. Okay? Sometimes a common mistake that I have realized, and this is something that I also do, is that there's certain things that I do with my patient that I don't consider as skilled, but it is actually skilled. It's something that I need to document. Okay? So telling someone that my patient was standing up for 5 minutes, okay, that's not telling anybody anything. How is standing for 5 minutes skilled? Why do we care? Why are we paying for you to stand your patient for 5 minutes? So by putting the most important words in there, if my hand is on the patient's back or pelvis, because I'm providing tactile cues, okay, and contact guard assistant to prevent them from falling, to encourage upright posture, to encourage them from not lean backwards, to prevent falls. If I'm educating them and I'm increasing their tolerance with activity, increasing their activity tolerance with standing, in order to allow them to stand at the sink and wash your face in the morning and brush your teeth. This is what makes it billable. Okay, the education part of it, the why behind what I'm doing. Okay, that is the most important thing. And don't think that you have your hand placed behind the patient's back, that's important. That's a tactile cue. Okay, that's important. That's something that you have to note, that without you, the patient could have fell. Okay, without you, the patient wouldn't have been able to do it, and you were needed because of it. The whys, the reason why you're doing what you're doing need to be emphasized even more. Another goal with documentation is that you always want to paint a picture. Paint a picture so that whoever is reading it can read what you did and they can have a visual image of what was done, exactly where your hand was, exactly their posture, the time, their O2 level. You want to give them a very vivid picture in their head. Just like when you're reading a book, right? When you read a book, sometimes books are not filled with pictures, but we can still imagine as if we were there. That's kind of what you want your documentations to be, that if someone is visualizing this, am I telling them what was done, how it was done, the assistant level, what was provided, the education, was I downgrade, did I increase the time, resistance levels, what did I do, why was it scaled? It is considered scaled service because of the skills that you are providing, because of you are facilitating something, because you are providing something. This is really, really important for you to know. Know it and keep it holy, okay? Does it really matter that the patient, because I've seen some notes where it's like, oh, patient was in the room while I arrived. Okay. And okay, fine. You painted the picture, all right? Patient was in the room while you arrived, and then I took the patient, and then I pushed the patient all the way down to the gym, and then there's certain things that are irrelevant. Get to the meat of it. Get to the meat of it. Okay? What was the assistance? What was adaptive equipment that you use? Adaptive devices that you use? Were they safe? Was it minimal assistant? Was it max? Was it max with cues? All those different words, those wordings are really, really important. So if you provided cues, make sure that you state it. If you facilitated movement, facilitated sequencing, if you taught them how to use a shoehorn, state that in there. If you educated them about fall prevention, state that in there. If you gave them strategies on how to don on a shoe, or if you gave them a visual demonstration of how to do it before they did it, these are all things that you have to document, okay? Other things that you have to document is very relevant information. Like I said, O2 status is always important. Their endurance level, their pain level. If you notify nursing of any kind of change status or anything that happened during treatment that you feel like the nurse needs to know, if you did that, document that. If they have new orders, like new doctor's orders and stuff that you know about, document that. Any relevant thing that happens during a treatment that has something, a direct impact or effect on the patient, plan of care, please state that in your notes. But don't document anything that has no relevance. So know the difference between things that are important, that are relevant, and things that are not relevant or not important. Always document how the patient responded to treatment. Okay, how did they respond? Where did the pain decrease because of what you did? Was there 100% carryover because of what you provided? Were they able to stand longer because of the tactile cues that you provided to their backs? How the patient responded and how the patient did is always really good to note in your notes as well. Always want to document progression. If an insurance agent is reading your note from last Friday and it's been 2 weeks and you're still writing the same thing, there is no progression there. You always want to show some kind of progression. Even if it's something small that you think is irrelevant and it's not progress to you, it may be progression to them, and anything is progression. If a patient's hand is this and now it's like this, there's a degree. Even if it's a half of a degree, there is a change, there is a progression there. You need to document it. Any single change that you see, you go ahead and you document that. The last part of my video is I wanted to tell you guys about like different common phrases that you want to incorporate in your notes, things that I do and things that I want to start incorporating. So I'm going to also leave a list down below for you guys. Common phrases that I usually use is facilitating, verbal instructions, tactile cues, verbal cues, visual cues, downgrading, upgrading, modifying, adaptation, patient engaged, therapist directed, stabilize, implemented. Implemented is a good one too that you can use. Any of those phrases, educate. I educate a patient on how to use a sock aid. All those common phrases, don't forget to use them in your notes. If you need to make a list of them, go ahead and do so. I'm going to add a lot of these phrases down below for you guys. I'm also going to add a link or different links to different websites so you guys can go on there and read a lot more about notes and note taking and how that process kind of go along. So that's it for me for today. If you guys have any questions, please leave it down below or send me an email or DM me on Instagram. And also make sure that you guys like and comment and subscribe and follow me on Facebook and also on Instagram. As always, I love you guys so much and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.